What up? What up? What up? Much peace. Celebrating here, aka LBT679, little brother Tamil. Keeping it real, just spilling it back up on YouTube. Hope everybody is feeling fine and great, fantastic. It's been a while for me coming through. Got to recap. Got to rap it all day. You know what I'm saying? Fiji rugby, flying Fijians, Olympic champions, current world champions from the tiny island in the Pacific Ocean to beat the whole world. Now that's just props. Um, yeah, man. So what I came up here, impromptu chat. Hopefully a few people come through. Takes time. You know, it's been a while since I've been up here, but getting back into the flow. As I said, just wanted to get some content across, man. Some things that quite uncommon knowledge, which I think are facts that should be, um, you know, more commonly known, right? There should be more awareness about these facts as they shaped the society in which we live. So what I want to kind of talk about today, I've put a couple links in there for people that want to check the website, but just basically the indigenous warriors that you know we've that have been here with us and in the past, and just some general knowledge. So we could see there. Let's go. So we could see. All right, there. Let's go. I'll see if I can get it a bit zoomier. Hang on a minute. So let's get rid of my thing. All right. All right, so my audio is removed as I come out, but that's G. I'll read it through. So let's just see. Basically, what I typed up. All right, so my audio is removed as I come out, but that's G. I'll read it through. We got okay. It's just basic Australian Aboriginal warriors. A Google search, right? So Australian Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander warriors. Listed below are some of the better known Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander warriors who defended their lands in the 19th century and early 20th centuries, and examples of where you can find information about them. So the few names I have spoken previously on a few streams, but Busamarai, Kalute, Dakira Wiripanda, Dandali, Janamara, Kikatapola, and Major. So there's plenty more. And what I was going to do, probably talk about Dandali in a little while. But I went down and from the Google search, and there's a few little questions, and you can click here and go there. So these are little interesting facts I thought I'd just read out. So, did the Aboriginals fight each other? This is according to Google, and their answer: in traditional Aboriginal society, warfare was armed conflict by the members of one social unit. It could be a tribe or a clan, or in the name of the unit, against another unit. Feud thought it may have wider implications involving many people, was armed conflict between family groups or kin groups. Now, also, mob is a very common term which is used today amongst Indigenous people to describe their so-called tribe or clan or group unit. I'm not sure if that was used back in the early times during the 1800s. They probably would have referred to themselves as their actual tribe name, the area they came from. And I might actually bring it up in a bit. There's I think his name was Ross Taylor. That there was a 1970 map. I'll bring it up in a little while. Basically, a European man went all over Australia trying to define the lines of the tribes, and he mapped out all the places. So this is another one which kind of, I don't know, made me think a little bit. And I don't know, like I've heard that name, but anyway, who was the richest Aboriginal in Australia? John Andrew Henry Forrest. Order of Australia, I think AO stands for. Um, Born 1961, nicknamed Twiggy, is an Australian businessman with an assessed net worth of Australian 6.84 billion, according to the 2017 Financial Review Rich List. Forrest was ranked within the top 10 richest Australians. So that's maybe, I mean, it's something that I've just seen and I want to look into. Obviously I could click it here, but I'm not going to for the moment. But I'm just wondering the amount of Aboriginality he does, and if he actually kind of looks stereotypically physical featured, or does he kind of pass for the light skinned Australian man, or no. But that's just the thought I've got. So, next one. What is the largest Aboriginal community in Australia? Of the states and territories, the largest populations of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Australians lived in New South Wales, 265,700 people, and Queensland, 221,400 people. The smallest population of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders Australians lived in the ACT, Australian Capital Territory, 7,500 people. Now, that is quite an interesting fact. I do have more info on that because I went to a bit of a rally that was on a couple of months ago during the BLM movement and rallies and things like this. Now, we had one over here. There was a Aboriginal or Indigenous college or school which would teach the culture, the art, the language. They were cutting government funding and things, so there was a bit of a protest on that. Now, what interesting fact I learned there is that we have a place called Redfern in Sydney, Australia. Now, that's basically very, very close to the CBD, but it was the region where the kind of Indigenous people were put and designated area. And over time, since the CBD has grown, the circumference just keeps going bigger and bigger over the decades and centuries. So that obviously wasn't in the plan, but now it's become very urbanized. But that fact is more Aboriginal people live in that area, Redfern, Sydney, than anywhere else. But then if you were to go to places like Northern Territory in their communities, where still you would find some most likely traditional cultural full-blooded people, the numbers are smaller than this, so that's why it doesn't really count. But I would say, because these people living here are, definitely living very westernized in the, modern culture of what we live, kind of Anglo and everything, not the traditional sense. So next thing, when was the first Aboriginal killed in Australia? Myall Creek Massacre, 10th of June. Doesn't give the year here. Must be, 1788, that was all before, because that was the year this place was colonized. But 28 people killed at Myall Creek near Inverell, New South Wales. This was the first Aboriginal massacre for which white European and black African settlers were successfully prosecuted. Wow. Well, we should look into that. That's something quite amazing. I didn't even realize black African settlers were successfully prosecuted. Is that the typo or what? Or wow, that's something to look into. Why were they over here doing labor, or were they part of the legislation or executive, like a branch? I'm not sure. That's a very good point there. So we'll check that out. Okay, here we go. Are there any full-blooded Australians people left? Most of these people live in Western Australia and North Australia. These are what I'm talking about, the ones in the communities, because basically on the East Coast is where they arrived. It's where the most thriving, place for a human to be, with the water, with the rivers, with all the plants and animal life. That's just where the Indigenous were situated, but they've been forced off. So now in the top parts of Australia and the Western, this is where you find the full-blooded. Remaining full-bloods estimated at 23,000 801 persons, I'm not sure when this was dated, are either in white employment or living in camps or missions in proximity to white settlements. Now let's just compare that 23,000 in compared to the 265,000 who are living just in this urban region I was talking about. That's good. You know, it is what it is. And these are facts which are, this will try to do, get out there so people have more awareness of these things. Because, they've shaped society in a very strong way, causing disparages. So, not to say that this will fix it, or not to say I have all the answers or anything, but it's just something that I'm very passionate about. So get the awareness out. Next one: why did the British kill the Aboriginal? According to Google, the most common motive for a massacre was a reprisal for the killing of settler civilians. But at least 51 massacres were in reprisal for the killing or theft of livestock or property. Now that's recorded. 51 recorded massacres. There would definitely, I would tend to say maybe even up to 10 times, but at least 3 times as many. There's there's a story there. There's a few images here. Traditional warriors. I mean, you can see here this man's beard, very, very, very tight hair. See characterizations, spears, shields. Chiefs with their animal skins, coats, modern. Warrior, like the body paint. Again, body paint. Shameful picture here. If you can see, these men have got chains and locks around their neck. So that's chain gang that we had over here. Completely naked, chains with just a loincloth with a piece of string wrapping their genitals. I mean, and look at this powerful, proud, look at his physique too, standing with a spear, slender, 6 foot, more, not one bit of fat or muscle, living off kangaroo meat, fish, or whatever was in their region. Bit of fighting here going on. And this is beautiful. These people were living in harmony and synchronicity with the earth, and they realized this. They knew that was part of their culture. Now, even here, people were gonna say, "Oh, they had no knowledge, not very savage skills." This is a man in a boat, and obviously Torres Strait Islander, Pacific Islands. These people were seafaring people. They realized that there's land masses across the water, so we got to get there for thousands of years. So obviously they did have, they're not this savage, ignorant thing that just, or whatever they do. They were very smart people. They all got brains. So let's click this. I wasn't planning to, but the killing times, the massacres of Aboriginal people of Australia must confront. All right. Let's get rid of that now. All right. So, all right. The truth of Australia's history has long been hiding in plain sight. The stories of the killing times are the ones we have heard in secret or told in hushed tones. They are not the stories that appear in our history books, yet they refuse to go away. The colonial journalist and barrister Richard Windener called it the whispering in the bottom of our hearts. The anthropologist William Stanner described a national cult of forgetfulness. A 1927 Royal Commission lamented our conspiracy of silence. But calls are growing for the national truth-telling process. Such wishes are expressed in the Uluru Statement from the Heart. That's a definite something people should see. I can bring it up a little bit later. It's like a TEDx talk. Reconciliation Australia's 2019 Barometer of Attitudes to Indigenous Peoples found that 80% of people consider truth-telling important. Almost 70% of Australians accept that Aboriginal people were subject to mass killings, incarceration, and forced removal of land, and their movement was restricted. Okay, so that's great, but I mean, I want to see what steps you will take to um, try and reiterate some sort of balance or sense of justice. Like, are we just going to say that, okay, 3/4 of the people or 4/5 of the people, um, accept this fact, but are just going to continue to live the way that we're going? Then, hey, what's the point of acknowledging that or even saying anything about that statement? As I say, we should take step backs towards nature. Our living standard needs to drop because we realize the technology and all these modern things of convenience have been harmful and cause rich to get richer, poor to get poorer, slave labor, and all bad conditions and things like this. But it just continues, and that's just something definitely how I feel. So um, we let's just stop. Let's like at least it's kind of like living standard, and then the conveniences and things like that they talk of. To me, it does. I just over the generations of my life, I can really see it as I'm getting into my 30s and from my 20s and stuff. And basically, the fact of um, I just lost where I was going with that, but yeah, it's just something that this needs to change. I had a point there and I lost it. Let me give me a moment. I'm just trying to think. Uh, yeah, I mean, so is that the case? You're gonna say that it's okay. We can just move on. I don't think so. There needs to be some total reverse. Oh, that's right. That's what I was saying. So the conveniences and the modern things, like in this time that I've grown, I remember when I guess the internet first came out, or kind of got a little bit bigger and common in all the households in the mid 90s and things, and it was dial-up internet, and you'd basically click on your site, have a lot of buffering, the page would load and continue in half load. It would be a quarter there, half, 3/4, and the full page would be displayed. Now that's dial-up internet, and this was 95, so or 90, no, actually probably mid late 90s. So still 30 years or 20 something years ago, 20 like 3 years ago, saying that was the up to date um, technology, so fast, super speed. Now we've got this 5G, 4G, 3G, but to me, I really see no difference. It's still buffering. We still got to wait just as long. Like they say, this is new technology, but it's still kind of the same. We press a page and we've got to wait a few minutes for things to come up. So what's the point in all of this, man? People kind of got to realize the essentials, prioritize the right things. Okay, get back onto this little thing. The frontier wars. How massacres spread with colonization. Showing the location of massacres where 6 or more people die between 1794 and 1928. Circles are sized by the estimated number of deaths of both indigenous people and colonial people. The color of the circles changes from red to blue as time passes. Data is incomplete with more sites still to be added, particularly in WA. Okay, so you can see here there's a timeline coming over from 1867. It's going through all the years. All these things started popping up. Now, as you can see, the East Coast is where they landed. So basically, Captain Cook and Adam Bligh, the supposed founders of Australia, they came through here, landed around here in Botany Bay. There's an inlet from the ocean. So somewhere around here, pupil massacres. This is where I'm from in Brisbane. I was born actually. Fiji is just over here. New Zealand is here. Um, so you can see a lot of East Coast massacres taking place, and this was the region so fertile, coastline, beautiful, crystal clear water, full of fish, just all the way through. And you can even see here, actually, so it just started again, did it? Yeah, all right. So if it started again, you can see the dots appearing, right? So they started in Sydney, they went down there, and basically okay, so you got, oh, well, here we go. That's why. We look at that. Because Tasmania is the place where the penal colony Van Diemen's Land was named. So it's very, very harsh conditions, very cold, similar to England, I guess. And this is the southern point, Melbourne and Victoria. This is Victoria, Melbourne being the capital city. Look at the amount of massacres that took place. They just wanted to disperse all these people and just remove them. This is where I am at the moment in Adelaide. South Australia has probably, in regards, in comparison, it has the most kind of relaxed and respectful laws towards Indigenous, apart from Northern Territory. Oh, actually, no, actually, probably I would say here, because even out of the Northern Territory, it's the conditions it's still not great. But anyway, so I was just taking notice of that. This is the place which was the prison. As they say, Australia was turned into a penal colony. This was the first part. People were settling here. This is the capital city. A lot of people were settling there. But then they realized they needed more people, because Australia was actually founded, the Constitution still states it, 1901 Confederation, that Australia was to be a white European utopia in the sense of the British colonists, but obviously they couldn't do that and continue to live at the standard of, high tea and all these suits and fine china and having people serve like everybody's living like that. It's not going to happen because they need double the amount pretty much of labor force to the people being served for it in order to it to continue at that at the way that they do. So I mean, yeah, that was quite an interesting thing actually. So I'll put that in there. I'll put that in the chat. But what's up to everyone, man? God Body, what is up? Red Squid, what is up? Atlas, what is up? I'll put the StreamYard up just in case anyone wants to come through and talk, but I didn't want to pull it initially because I want to come and do some info, then get people's opinion. But so I'll go to where I was kind of wanting to talk about Dundalli, right? So come back into here, go back into here, go back into here. All right, it's another one here. Okay, so this is I did post the website I'll do it again in the chat, so you can check it out for yourself if you want. So these are the things that I want people to be more aware of, right? And it's slowly getting there. But look, once again, look at these people, such slender, no fat, no sickness. You got thick hair, they're very, very dark skin. Spears and the physique, just muscle, no fat, height there. These are people living in harmony for thousands of years, naturally how we were supposed to be, but all good. Okay, remembering Dundalli, a warrior who fought to protect his people and country, executed 5th of January 1855 in Brisbane, Queensland. Remembering our warriors, Dundalli. Okay, culture and heritage. This is written on 6 Jan 2017. Okay, so Dundalli was a Turwan, Yagara, word for leader, and was educated in Aboriginal law in 1840 to 1850, when Brisbane town began casting off the yoke of military and penal colony rule. The first Australians were coming to the realization that the new Australians were here to stay. Dundalli was chosen as the Turwan to conduct restorative justice. He retaliated for the shooting and poisoning of Aboriginal people by settlers. For over 10 years, Dundalli attacked settlers, conducted robbery, causing serious bodily harm, and killed stock. Well, hang on, I'll stop there for a moment. Now, the way that they describe this, for over 10 years, Dundalli attacked settlers, conducted robberies, causing serious bodily harm, and killed stock. Well, for how long did the new Australians who were here to stay perform such acts as well of murder, robbery, killing stock, causing serious bodily harm? I think it's a little bit more than Dundalli, and he was doing it in the fact of, retaliation and self-defense kind of. But anyway, back to the point. Aboriginal people saw him as a resistance leader, but the new Australians saw him as a criminal and murderer. Dundalli was charged in 1854 and committed to trial for the robbery with the violence at German missionary Reverend J.G. Houseman's station in 1845, for the murder of the station owner Andrew Gregor and his servant Mary Shannon in 1846, for the murder of the Sawyers, Boller and Waller in 1847, for the murder of fisherman Charles Gray near Bribie Island, and for the murder of shepherd Michael Halloran. He was found guilty of the 2 counts of murder and 1 of robbery with the violence and hanged in 1855, the last official public execution in Queensland. So that's a bit about Dundalli. So there is more, I'll check up the wiki on him. Hang on a second. All right, we got it. All right, so there's the wiki side about Dundalli. 1820 to 1855, was an Aboriginal lawman, Indigenous. So the description of that, Indigenous Australian customary law refers to the legal systems and practices uniquely belonging to the Indigenous Australians. Indigenous customary law developed over time from accepted moral norms within Indigenous societies. They regulate human behaviour, mandate specific sanctions with some extra work. Now, see, this is something which is also some fact that I want, people need to be more aware of. These Indigenous people still do. They have a court and judgment system within their own society. And it has been like that before these new Australians or the Europeans came. So they sort out their issues between tribes or internally throughout themselves, like the elders, or there is certain respected people who make these judgments, and consequences may be, a spear to the leg or something if you were to rape or murder another, or whippings and things. So, and things like that. Like, so somebody had a scar on their thigh, you'd kind of be known as, you could, it's like he's seen and known for the rest of his life. But so they do have a system, and they were cultured, they were people, they definitely had society. They weren't this fauna, animal flora and fauna, which they were considered as literally in legislation, as Captain Cook and Adam Black came up with the 3rd form of the rules of conquest, terra nullius, meaning a land of nothing in Latin. So, there was 2 other ways basically at the time. You could do by war and just overrun, and they would surrender, or there would some sort of treaty is signed. Like in New Zealand, the Maori have the Waikato Treaty. So over there in New Zealand, the Indigenous culture is very well accepted by the new New Zealanders. So, they definitely have lots of writing around in Maori language. They sing their songs. They accept it. The politicians all It's they might not have sincerity, but it is definitely there teaching the people. When I went there, I was very amazed by that. Over here, in comparison, it's just a complete opposite. You know, even that 70 to 80% we were talking about before, fair enough, they might consider, oh, this did happen, but what actions are they doing to make that change? Or are they just, okay, that's what happened, and I'm going to live my life all good and great and let the disparagement continue? I mean, that's great. It's just like turning a blind eye, so you're just as bad. Um, I'll just, before I read on, I'll give you guys, here's a picture of the fella Dundali. So some images. As he was from like 1820 to 1855, it's probably mostly, you know, what's that word? Like sketches, pictures like that. So, you know, there you go. Dreadlock. That was a definite hairstyle of these indigenous in Australia. So, I mean, that's the red. You were saying you had your speech about dreadlocks and stuff. So, where'd they come from? What's the source behind them? Dundali. Okay. There's another one, some warriors that you didn't know about. It's with the flag here. I'll show you for people that don't or have the reason of this color choice in the scheme. I'm not sure who actually made it, but I do know that the black represents the people. Yellow is the sun, which is the life giver, and the red is basically the ochre, like clay colored land that is not all over Australia, but is the majority of Australia. So in this land, that's the reason. There are the oh, whoop! I'm not even showing you this. Sorry, guys. um, I'll come back to it. Hang on a second. You got to share your screen, man. I could just do this. It'll probably be easier. Alright, so this back to this Dundali. Right, so the sketches were probably made over here, and these were the ones I was talking about. I think those are the other pictures, so you did see that. So I'll just go through. Now, these are the dreads I was talking about. Dreadlock, traditional hairstyle amongst Indigenous for a long, long, long time. So, yeah, and there's the flag I was talking about. So, the black is considered the people, the yellow, the life giver of the earth, and the red is the clay, the land. So, yeah, I'll go back into the Wikipedia on Dundali. Hang on a sec. Okay. So, early life. Dundali was born into the Dalla tribe, probably as a son of Dalambara clan. Together with his brother Omuli, he grew up in Blackall Range. The area had a rich regional economy with fertile ranges spread out over areas of spectacular scenery with waterfalls plunging into deep gorges. These uplands of the Glasshouse Mountains and the Diagula, Conadale, and Jimma Ranges were the homelands of the Dalla people. So that's their community, that's their area, who spoke a language closely related to Gubbi Gubbi. His name Dundali was that taken on his initiation into the full tribal status and meant Wonga pigeon. So the Wonga pigeon is a pigeon that inhabits areas in eastern Australia, with its range being from central Queensland to Gippsland, eastern Victoria, Australia. Right, so that's just an animal found in his area, name given to him. His brother Umuli. Its name meant breast, which may also refer to the same species of pigeon. Dundali grew to be very tall, and the judge at his trial recorded that he was, in quote, the largest man I ever looked upon, end quote. Well over 6 feet, 1.8 meters tall. So that's the kind of interesting fact that I read then before. So, these were, what's the word? Like warriors, which kind of caused intimidation, you know? Like if this judge is sitting behind the thing saying this is the largest man I've ever looked upon, that's going to have some bias in his judgment, in his decision, his final ruling. Because, he probably was a small man and scared and thought, oh, this is a menace. He's a menace to society just because he was fighting back in a sense. Not fight, he was wanting to stand up for his people. So I'm obviously passionate about how this goes, but 1840 to 1854. Dundali, together with his fellow clansman Anbaburi, was selected to lead a Dala delegation which was organized to treat with German missionaries, no, to treat with German missionaries at Turbu in order to invite them to set up an outpost in Dala country. In June 1842, Carl William Schmidt, with 9 Aborigines, had explored country around the Bunya Mountains and had reported of the practice of squatters using gifts of flour laced with strychnine to local natives in order to clear out Aborigines in area beyond the confines of areas where settlement had been authorized. So there you go. Another typical trick. I mean, as you say, in America, the blankets and things that were given to the natives were infected with measles, pox, smallpox, and other diseases which wiped them out because they were, um, this is for the initial time that they've been exposed to this. Their bodies were not used to it, no defense, so they were eradicated. And this was something that these Europeans had in their mind, man. And they're doing this over here, putting strychnine in the flour. So how can they say they were doing the right thing? We were trying to help these people. It's no, you just wanted to come and have a rule of the land and make your own way, and then say it's all right now. Like really, that's disgusting. If this was to happen today, that's crimes against humanity, huge, massively. Anyway, so the encounter took place in August 1841. The 2 missionaries in question were J.P. Nikwe and A.T.W. Hartenstein, who, with several others, had trekked from Brisbane as part of a lay mission recruited by John Dumore Lang to work in the Moreton Bay area. They set up their mission. See, this is the part. This is even like, look at that. How beautiful is that? Moreton Bay is a bay located on the eastern coast of Australia, 14 kilometres, 8.7 miles from central Brisbane. It is one of Queensland's most important coastal resources. The waters of Moreton Bay are a popular destination for recreational anglers and are used by commercial. So, I mean, there's Harvey Bay also. That's where we have humpback whales do their seasonal migration. Very, very popular touristing. I'm just saying how beautiful this land was before that it was, and for the Aboriginal people who realized that they would also, um, you know, work, what's the word? The land in a sense that they knew if you were to till it and try and make agriculture for one season, you couldn't do more than 3. You had to let the land rest so it could rejuvenate. So they would move on, leave that area, come back, and that's the reasons for their kind of nomadic existence. It was about taking care of the land, which took care of them. In that same basis. Now, coming back to that fact here about strychnine in the flour. I was got a friend who's from South Africa. Living Vision is her Instagram, and she basically was. We were talking the other day, and the South African apartheid legislation and things was based upon the perfections that had come from Australian colonization. Obviously these things had been going on for a long, long time, and the conquest things they planned, but the basis of apartheid really had a lot of, you know, it took a lot from of the points from the Australian White Australia policy, which was in existence till 1967 here, which basically considered Indigenous people as flora and fauna. So they were literally animals, just like a kangaroo, just like a koala, just like a wombat. They were Australian animals, um, which changed in '67. And it's just that's just strange to me because I could not imagine somebody like you can't even imagine someone like a man that's say born in 1940 even, right? Or like, so for 20 years of his life he was treated at the worst of the worst, scum of the scum. You're an animal. And then one day when he's mid 20s or 27, they're going to be like, oh, it's okay, you can vote now, you're a human, it's all good, like, and expect everything to be fine. Like, that guy's tormented, he's mentally scarred for his life. I'd like to see the position reversed. 20 years of these people saying, of the rulers to really be in a position of uncomfort, and because they're wanting the most convenient and comfortable situation of life for themselves and their family, and their family line, but really they wouldn't even last 6 hours in the conditions of these people living in the community. They wouldn't. you know they'd want to leave. They wouldn't spend the night. They would not last the night, let alone a few days, a week, a month, years, generations. Come on. you know these people in suits and ties talking on the television. Oh yes, we were here to fix the problem, we really wanted to change this thing, blah 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 blah. But put them in real time in position. Mm-mm. Maybe one out of 100 would last and be there. It's kind of insane. So background to his arrest and his trial. 1840 to 41, a pastoral rush for land to Scots began as the northern districts were opened up to free settlement. So, this is, there you go again. This is just the people in charge thinking that they have rule over everything. Whatever we say goes, and the people in existence just have nothing. You know, it's very just like, I won't go into much like the disgusting behaviors of, they were getting paid to bring back a decapitated head, something like £10 a piece at some stage in the 1800s. So, but basically, where I'm at, I wanted to talk about the warriors and things. Um, so that's pretty G. If there's any sort of topics in comment, I'll come and check the things now. Um, we can see what do we got. Thanks, Ajia, for coming through, man. If you're still here, um, yeah, absolutely, bro. Peace and empowerment's always at your end, man. Like all of us, man. We gotta just try our best, man, and be within just the scope of things and reality. Like, kind of take a realistic look at all these things and try and be the best we can. So, how have I been? I've been on for 45 minutes. Like, I'll drop it again. If you guys want to come up, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have any thought about it, especially Red Man, if you're still watching, I'm sure you have some knowledge on the topic and stuff. Even Goldbody, anybody, man. I want to hear your thoughts. And if you were here before, um, there was that strange situation where it was talking of here. I'll try and find it again. I'm sharing the screen. The Black African Americans settling here. It was quite strange. So I'll show you. I mean, I don't want to repeat or anything, but if you guys just came late and didn't see it, wasn't that one? Okay, well, um, sure, but it was basically saying that that was the first time, I think it was 1850, that there was a prosecution of European settlers and Black American. And I just was a bit shocked by that because I'd love to know who, like, and why they were here. Because we had blackbirding going on as well, which was the basically all the sugarcane farms, which required the hard labor. They would take people from Torres Strait Island, literally kidnapping them, bringing them over here, and forcing them to work. And sometimes there was contracts, indentured labor, things like that, which would just, they'd say, "Oh, we'll give you a place to live, we'll give you food, you work," but the conditions were just terrible, and it was kind of like forced slave labor. So yeah, that's an interesting thing, but that's the first I've ever heard of that, the existence of Afro Americans being here in Australia during the colonization of things. So looking at here, there's another kind of um, fact, like the famine that happened in South India. There's so many, and it was all really due to the British rule. I think Winston Churchill was there. Like I think or maybe two or three under at least. He was aware of all these things, and because basically, as India was part of Britain or the English colony, all the work and resource agricultural produce that came from there, spices, I guess, rice, uh, whatever, whatnot, silks, fabrics, yeah, all those things. Um, but it was more about the food in this case because it was a famine. They got sent all, grown in India, which not, by the farmers and sent away to Europe or wherever they were dispersed to make profit and monetary gain for the establishment and the crown, which left no food within the land and caused like major, massive starvation. I've seen some shocking pictures of it. Um, let's see, we'll go into here. 1943. Okay, so let's see this one. It's not really too close, but you can see a malnourished family there. Mother, father, three children. And even to look at these people, you know, there is definitely some connection here around the world. They have an Aboriginality look to them, like Indigenous Australian. The skin tone, the physique, the culture, even the way they live in the houses, and from even in Fiji, a lot of people say that the South Indian people are very, very similar in culture in comparison to the Sikh or Gujarati people. Um, but anyway, so let's just see what this says. The Bengal famine of 1943 was a famine in the Bengal province of British India during World War II. An estimated 2.1 to 3 million out of a population of 60.3 million. So let's see what that is. If it was, whoa, that's like 4%. No, wait. Can't be that because if it's 100 and it's one, it would be 1%. So no, that's probably right actually. About 4%. Wow, that's a lot, man. Died of starvation. malaria, and other diseases aggravated by malnutrition, population displacement, unsanitary conditions, and lack of healthcare. So this was just one of them in 1943. So this is in the area which is now Bangladesh. Uh, and even that whole split partition, of the British India was just another thing which killed millions of people. It was, there's Pakistan and there's Bangladesh, Muslim, and then Hindu or Christian and whatever the basis is. And, they all scrambled across these lines, which were just cut out by a British man who had never been to India, never knew the culture, nothing. It was more about economic reasons and stuff. And so many people buy it. And then another fact, staying on this kind of topic, is in the caste system. I'm not sure if people are aware, but it's something which is, the really basis of the Hindu culture and has been since its um, birth or existence into existence. It's basically it's a bureaucratic sort of thing where there's levels, and this is the whole point of Hinduism. It's like these people are born into this level, and they do their work, and the saying is dharma and karma. So whatever you do in this life will come back, and supposedly if you do right, you can raise a level, or you might lower a level, or if you moksha, I think is what it's called. So if you attain that sense of nirvana or whatnot, you don't come back. So, but anyway, back on the fact is they got Brahmins who are the priests and the poets, right? Then you've got I think Kshatriya or something, and they were the warriors, protectors of these people, the elite. And then you have Vaishya, who are like merchants, the business people and traders. Then there is Shudra, who are the farmers and things like this, right? So they are basically the upper class, the middle class, I guess, even lower class. But then there is a fifth, the Dalits, right? The untouchables. Now, they are all the people who are basically the tribals who ran away from this modern westernization. They didn't want to do it. They wanted to live traditional way, and they are still there. And these people are the people delegated jobs, the worst jobs, the stinkiest jobs. And the thing is, with that system, as they say, it's so hard to get out of it. Like, you're born into this, your son will be this, you're going to remain in this, and it's kind of like that. Although through education they're able to get up, because a lot of people think Gandhi is something special, some gift to humanity. And even the people who link with Martin Luther King and Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was supposedly a great fan of Gandhi and his ethics and movements, but in reality he was very conniving, cunning, disgusting, very just power hungry man, because he wrote three different kind of, what are they called, not articles, but three different, because he wrote many things, releases, I guess, in different languages on the same topic. So one in English, I think, what was the other, and then one in his in like a Hindi, the Indian language, and then I think one in Afrikaans when he went to South Africa. So even then, when he was going there, he would consider himself higher than the kafir, saying that they were lazy, um, no good, couldn't work, was trying to raise himself above that. Like, that is shocking, and to say that. And then he wants no non-violence, like his non-violence is, so if the master hits you, let him hit you, don't hit back. So he's trying to teach these people that sort of mentality to keep the elite in the establishment. I mean, I could go on for ages on this, because there's the man who wrote the Constitution of India. His name is Dr. Bimrao Ambedkar. Now, the crazy, or not crazy, the miraculous and glorious part of it, this man was an untouchable, or a Dalit. So for him to rise up and get into school, um, finish school, get a position, within all government works, is just a miracle at first in that, right? But he was a definite, um, what's that word, opponent of Gandhi. He would say so much in wrong. He wrote the Constitution, which is still existing today. He turned to Buddhism after finding that the caste system was just something, he, after his life, late in his life, I think he turned to Buddhism. But, you know, he would say things like, I mean, there's things called Harijan, right? Now, they are the children of God. Now, this is what Gandhi referred to the Dalits as, right? He would say, they are the Harijan, trying to tell the whole world, oh, he's so nice, they're the children of God. But the reason this is like that, it's stems from these like back in decades ago, the priests, Brahmins, poets in these temples and things like that, who were the holy people, um, and it is kind of, I wouldn't say like just based on it, because you do get some very dark skinned Brahmins, but it's kind of, they do the light skin is looking better, kind of thing. So they bleach, some people bleach their skin, but that's not part of the thing anyway. So the Dalit children, basically the Brahmins would go around and see a Dalit family, and if they had a pretty young girl there, they would say, okay, you donate her to the temple, you'll get blessings. She can come and dance for the priest to entertain. Now, obviously, the family does this thing because, they want the blessings, they think it's the right thing to do. But what happens? That girl goes there, dances, whatnot, but then the priest, still being humanistic and in an animalistic sense, gets physical with her, probably forces himself on her, and a child is born, conceived from that, right? So, but they aren't married or nothing. So, and she was a Dalit now, and he was a Brahmin, so that child is not going to be accepted as Brahmin. And they say Harijan, children of God. So it's kind of like where Ambedkar would be. You do not say anything like that. Do not call us this. We want to call ourselves Dalit. Dalit. That is what they consider themselves as a name, because that translates into broken and trodden. So I think if you go to the United Nations, Dalit is literally the uh, politically correct name for them. Now, the other part is they want to get to is there are 200 million of these people right now as we speak existing in India who are subjugated to these terrible, terrible conditions. Like they are sweeping the dirty gutters, like sewers and things like that, with their hand, and then they've got to go send it away, to some dump somewhere. Or they, even with the thing like Islamic people don't eat pork, Hindu people don't eat beef. Now, tanning leather is a huge industry over there, so these people are forced to deal with animal skins and stenches and have to pick up the dead bodies of animals and remove them. So all the really dirty and disgusting jobs, that's them given to now, and to me, in a sense, I think that the global kind of movement, and the way I feel that they are going to put a caste system around the whole world, in the sense like they are looking at that just the same way I was talking about apartheid took from the Australian example. I think people, a lot of the world, like these elites, are taking from the Hindu example, trying to create this sort of thing, but in a global sense. Um, across the line, it's not about color and stuff anymore. It's kind of not class, but just your, I guess, ideology even. Um, so yeah, it's like it is what it is. Oh, peace out, Grandma Apcar. Thank you for coming through. Uh, let's read a comment. Power to the Southern Hemisphere. Here is here. No, power to the Southern Hemisphere. Her great, her light. Isaiah 45, 8 to 25. Continue to shine, sunshine. Dropping in, beaming out. Easy. Greater is you than they. Nice. Now that's some inspirational. What do you call terminology? Atlas 2.0. You have a comment there about the C19. Um, so yeah, like I don't know if you could come up, more than welcome. I'll drop it again. Don't think you guys are probably busy or which not which way. But I'm G. How long has it been? It's been a while. I probably should cut out pretty soon, but we're in an hour. So um, much thanks. I hope there was some info there that you guys didn't realize, and some knowledge where um, it may provoke thought. Um, Atlas, I don't know if you're still out there watching, but you know, it's all fake. But you got to keep safe. Got to keep safe in this place. Who is he? Is my friend. But anyway, you know what it is. You know what it is. But yeah, I hope things in them, like wherever you're at, are going good. Stay that way. Keep creating. Be yourself. Be the best you can be. Follow your intuition. Respect those that respect themselves. Love yourself, and just link with like-minded people. You know, try and realize the truth. Keep people aware of situations. Like I don't have all the answers. We never will. Things will change. Life goes on. Try and learn every day. Just but find your thing. Find what you're good at, and expand, accentuate. Link with the like-minded people that are gonna help you strive and achieve. Be there to motivate you, push you, be honest, and the ones to kind of, like say if you've got you got some maybe a booger out, some snot out, or some food on your mouth, and you've been sitting there all day, and you get home in the mirror and you look and you go, oh, I was with those people all day, and they never told me I had the thing. So it's like you want to hang with people that would tell you, hey brother, you got some food around your mouth, just what that, it's looking out for you in best interest. So things like that. And that's the manifestation. That's up to you, the environment you put yourself in. A lot of, it's easier said than done. We all have different levels of strength, motivation, and all this, but whichever way it goes, it's up to us, man. We got to do it right. So, much peace, chilling out. I don't know if I might stay on for a bit. I'll see if I can send a message out to anybody that wanted to jump up, but if it doesn't, that's all cool. See, and that's another thing. You got to stay on top, especially in this, the way that the modern things are going. Be savvy with this, like internet stuff. Like that's something. I played music professionally for and did my thing and all this, but it's just definitely the way things are going. Like even uni, when I first went to uni, which would have been like 8 years ago when I enrolled, like after high school, or even more than that. And then Facebook was something, a requirement which we had to be in, so we could group study our study groups and lectures and tutorials. We had to be on that and contacting each other through this, so you wouldn't pass. And now just look at the amount of businesses who are on it. Instagram, uh, whatever there is, Snap and TikTok, and just everything now is online. From Big W to not Big W. I mean, like from Walmart or your local shopping center. If you're in UK, you got Sainsbury's, all these things like that. I'm just trying to think of the shop in Fiji, but I can't remember the name. But yeah, it's like that's just the way it is. So it's going that way. You don't have to get involved in it, but if you are trying to push yourself forward in a career, or just want to have an online presence and get your word out and build a platform, this is definitely the way to go. So just try and be savvy with it, and just keep at it, man. If you got the passion, just be yourself. Be honest. Honesty is the key to every relationship, from your parents to your siblings. Um, to your partner, to everybody. So maybe this will do. I just sent in one email already. So that's what we can do, man. It's just just do what we got to do, and I don't know if anybody wanted to come up, you can do it. And so what I was going to mention then, saying on that social savvy thing, I just started up my actually, like, there you go. You got it, LBT 679. Little brother Tamil 679. 679 is the Fiji phone code, area code. So I did an Instagram on that. I'm going to be uploading a lot, and yeah, just gonna keep on going through this, aka Sunray, aka Mr. Barley, get that shit out there. So I got myself one of these the other day. I worked on basically like the MPC. Um, I used to work on a Roland group box. First thing I bought was a 303. Then I got a 505. But I bought this one out. It's quite an old. It's not like it's been around for a while, but people say 808 and things like that. Um, there you go. If you could see it, it's this Roland MC 808 group box beat machine. Um, it's pretty dope. And that's another thing, 808. A lot of people go like, oh, the 808. It's like an 808 to me is just a sine wave. Like the sine wave is a perfect wave, SINE. And then you just got to add effects to the oscillators. That makes the kick, and Roland really was the first one to come out with that boom preset kick, and now it's just taken over and people think it's all about 808, and I don't understand it. But yeah, all right, easy as, man. It doesn't look like anyone's coming up, which is cool. I don't know what else I could flick on about. Like, if there's any topic you want me to do, drop it in the chat and I can pull it up on Google. If not, I'll probably just snap on for another few minutes and then post out. But this was me coming back. It's been a while. I'm gonna try and continue to do it on a regular basis. I got to keep learning music to use it too, using doors indoors or working with doors indoors. So look forward to a new episode of that. But yeah, apart from that, man, peace out always, man, from Australia. Killing it. Be you, be the best. Live long, live strong, man. Watch this replay, comment, hit the like, tell your friends. See you soon. Stay up, high grade all day, every day. See your florist with the flower boy. Peace. Be bright minded. Yeah.